Hey there, Tundra Nation, and welcome back to the channel. Today on Tundra Tactical, we're bringing you another edition of Ask Tundra Nation, the show where you guys, the fans, get to ask your questions to me and have them read and answered on the show. So make sure to drop the video a like, stay tuned, thanks for watching, and let's start the show. Hey there, Tundra Nation, quick appearance by Future Tyler here to tell you about this week's sponsor, the Dude Bag. We just got this thing in and I am super excited. We'll take a peek inside, see what they sent us in the Dude Bag. You can check them out on their website. I'll put a link in the description below for you guys to take a peek at them. But I have, spoiler alert, I opened this thing up. It's out freaking standing. It's the coolest subscription bag I've ever gotten. Plus, it comes in the sweet, actually useful case. But we have some EMT first responder kit stuff. Ear Pro, got plenty of Ear Pro, but it's always good to have a second pair. Don't know what those are going to be used for. Some tactical knife stuff. Right in the Rain notepads. Guys, make sure to support the sponsors here on the channel. Possibly pick up a Dude Bag by following the link in the description below. And big thanks to those guys out there for sending us the big D bag so that we can show it off to you guys. Now let's get back to Ask Tundra Nation. Megan, I did it again. Can you help me? All right, Tundra Nation, let's dive into the questions. The first one is coming from our good buddy Canadian Defector. I will say some of these are a little older, but we're still going to get to them eventually. He wants to know, what is the dumbest myth you've ever heard about concealed carry? That one's really easy for me, man. It's the myth of shooting your dick off if you appendix carry. It is such, like, to me, that's such a stupid thing to think about. Yes, okay, that's where your gun is. It's on the front of your, stomach, on your appendix, essentially. But it's also the most concealable position for most dudes and gals out there in terms of concealing medium factor to like large form factor firearms. And that just, it expands your ability to carry the gun that you feel comfortable with and want to actually carry, not to mention the gun you probably are going to train with the most. And really, like, the only way that you're going to end up shooting your dick off is if you practice unsafe practices like drawing improperly, or just don't put enough time into the actual training to make it safe. It has the same dangers as any other carry, well, not dangers, but it has the same potential for danger as any other carry position. And that's all to do with your draw stroke and your draw hand. If you're drawing improperly, it doesn't matter where on your body the gun is, it's a safety risk. That's all. Like, it has no bearing on the fact that if it's like at a 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, or even if you're an idiot, like the small of the back. It has nothing to do with that and everything to do with your style of training, or not your style of training, but your consistency in training in your draw and your draw stroke. It tends to be one of the more comfortable positions. So I don't know why people are so scared of this. Yeah, okay, it kind of sits by your junk, whatever. It's just like anything else when you start carrying, especially like dressing around your gun. You got to learn to get comfortable carrying the gun, and you definitely have to learn to be comfortable in the position that you carry. The more you end up doing it, the more you end up practicing with it, the more smooth and comfortable it becomes. So I don't know why this myth came into fruition. Just maybe insecurities, or when they feel that cold barrel sticking up against their pee-pee, which it's really not. Let's be honest, it's more of a joke than anything else. It just makes them nervous, and this myth has perpetuated itself. I have literally no idea why. Great question, buddy. Let's move on to the next one, and this one comes from Prairie Dog 308, and he would like to know, what's the most rage-inducing game you have ever played? This one's going to be a fast one, and that's Escape from Tarkov, and no, I don't want to talk about it. Our Cyrillic friend is back with this one. I'm just going to put his name up on the screen here, maybe. Let's get that right. I have no idea how to pronounce this, but this person would like to know, what is your favorite truck gun? Oof. And what is your dream gun? Well, in terms of truck guns, you guys know, and I think a lot of you out there believe that truck guns really shouldn't exist. Maybe in very, very limited circumstance they can, but your vehicle is not a secured storage device, even if you can lock it, right? I don't know what your definition of a truck gun is, but even if you lock it, even if you have a secured container in the truck, that truck can still leave. It still can leave. It's the same reason why a lot of people don't advocate for things like purse carry. You can't trust your gun to necessarily be in the same place that you left it when you left it unsupervised. The reason I mentioned purse carry, a lot of people set their bags down, and that gun might walk off if you turn your head and that bag decides to get stolen just like your vehicle. Now you've lost your firearm too. So the firearm should, if possible, there are certain scenarios out there that this is not going to be possible, but if at all possible, it should stay on your person at all times. You know, obviously, if you're going into a school or a government building, in some cases, you can't do that. But in those limited circumstances, make sure to have a really, really good secured container. With that being said, I guess before I go into too much of a rant, I really don't have a favorite truck gun because I don't believe in truck guns. But if I had to pick one, I really don't know. Something like a mare's leg would be kind of cool, just for like the novelty sake of it. And leading into that, he asks, what's your dream gun? Well, the mare's leg is definitely up there. I've always wanted one of those guns. Never been able to justify the price tag on one of them because they're a bit spendy for my taste. But a mare's leg in 44 Magnum would be amazing, or a short barrel lever gun. For whatever reason, I love them. I think they're just the coolest looking things on the face of the planet. There's something about having, you know, a tube fed 44 mag coming out of a longer barrel that just screams badassery to me. I absolutely love the idea of it. More recently, and I guess it's not really a dream gun anymore because I personally haven't acquired one, but a family member has. The FK Bruno field pistol and PSD. My dad has picked both of those guns up relatively recently. And boy, let me tell you, generally speaking, the more money you spend on a gun, the more money I spend on a gun, the more disappointed I am by it because I'm expecting it to be this like grandiose, you know, be all end all thing to actually live up to the expectation that's been set for me because of that price tag and or said advertising material that made me want to get the gun to begin with. And that's been the case with pretty much every high dollar gun I've ever shot from Christensen Arms ARs, even though they are really nice. I just felt let down because it was just the same thing with F1. I just felt like they were good guns, but they didn't justify I couldn't justify spending that much money on them. The PSD and the field pistol, the exception that proves the rule. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about here, I'll put a little link to, or I'll put a little picture up of what they are. Long and short of it is, it's witchcraft, number one. It's a pistol that's designed to shoot the 7.5 FK round, simulates out of a 6-inch barrel AK-47 ballistics out to 100 yards. It is unbelievable. It does not sound like it's possible at all, but just trust me, it is. And it's fantastic. The damn thing sounds amazing. It cycles great. The sights are outstanding. They have this like ghost ring and diamond sight that once you figure it out is very, very easy to use. And the gun shoots lights out because it's got a 6-inch barrel. So you're working with a decent sized firearm that's got a very high powered round. The gun actually doesn't weigh a ton, at least in the PSD version. The field pistol does weigh a little bit more, but there's not a lot of recoil either. And the damn thing sounds so cool. It sounds so satisfying every time you pull the trigger. It just makes you want to say, yes, I need more of this in my life. So with the performance of the gun, the reliability so far, I think we've got probably about 500 rounds through the gun. No issues. You know, obviously that's a very minor sample size. We're not going to be claiming like 10,000 rounds, no issues or anything like that with this gun because the ammo is a little spendy. It's about $1 a shot right now. But I do think it will stay that way even when the supply crisis for ammunition goes away. So with the price of ammunition, it's not going to be like a 500 round, a trip gun. Might be like a 50 round to 100 round gun. Wait, a trip a gun. You get what I'm saying. 50 to 100 rounds per range trip where we'll go and just practice with it. My dad loves it. He's super happy with it. And the really, really cool thing is, especially with the field pistol, it's a $7,500 gun. So it's a bit of a collector's item. I don't think that there are too many in private collection right now or private hands right now. So it's kind of cool when you go to the range and there's a guy that's shooting a CZ Parrot who's trying to flex on the pores out there. And you get to essentially look at him and be like, that's cute, kid. One of the other things that I've come across recently or decided to do recently as kind of a longer term goal, it's not really a single gun, but it's kind of a collection of them. I realized ever since I picked up my Swiss K11 that I am in love with straight pull actions. I absolutely love the idea of straight pull actions. I wish that they would kind of make a modern resurgence, but I'm also kind of happy that they haven't because it kind of turns them a bit more into, if not collector's items, novelty items that are just cool to have. And with that being said, one of the things that I'd like to do is kind of start collecting all of the different major types of straight pull to an extent. I mean, I'm sure there are things out there that are just like not acquirable at all, but you know, complete the Swiss line, the K31, the K11, the 1911, you know, Mannlicher 1895. One of the major reasons why I'm starting to want these guns is because of the game we're playing on our Twitch channel, which you can find right here, by the way. We stream every weekday starting at 3:30 p.m. Central Time and end right around 9 p.m. Central Time. And then on the weekdays, it's noon to kind of whenever. But 7 days a week, that's where you can find more Tundra content. And the game that we're playing right now is called Enlisted. It's a World War II shooter. Very cool, very fun, but it's got a lot of these guns in it. And it's kind of rekindled my love for not bolt action, but straight pull action rifles. They're fast, they're fun, they're really unique and cool. You know, it kind of gives you that, and let's be honest, we all have felt it before, that, you know, racking the shotgun, just, you kind of like, yeah, that was cool. That was cool, right? It's infinitely cooler when you have a straight pull bolt, because you're doing it with a rifle, and it feels foreign, it feels interesting, it feels novel, maybe a little exotic, and especially with the types of guns that you see in those straight actions or straight pull actions, it becomes even more so. So yeah, I guess that would be the answer to that question. Mare's Leg, the FK Brno PSD, or field pistol one day if I can ever afford it, and a collection of straight pull action rifles. This next one comes from our good buddy over in the EU, Mr. Don Rayner, and he would like to know, is it true that Tyler is 5'6"? No, it is not true. Although I am not much taller, I'm about 5'10", pretty average dude, just got a beard and that's it. I sit down constantly, so I don't know if that gives you the perception that I'm smaller than I actually am, but don't know where you got that. You know, check your sources, Don. That's all I'll say. Next up on the list is Empty Headed Gamer, returning this week with a bit of a vibe check here. He wants to know, he says, watching the news makes my head, my heart, and my soul hurt. What do? I've got a great answer for you, buddy. Just watch more Tundra Tactical. Honestly, that's the whole reason that we exist, but that was the whole reason we kind of came into existence. Well, maybe not came into existence, but modified what we planned on doing to become more of like a satire and comedy channel. The gun industry and things surrounding it tend to live in the very, very serious world. We're dealing with very serious topics. We're dealing with stuff that isn't on the surface a comedy thing. It's not funny on the surface. It is, like I said, very kind of sobering and serious. With that being said, it also kind of opens the door, because of that seriousness, for a little bit of satire, a couple of jabs to be thrown, maybe get under some skin and make people freak out a little bit, which is always fun to watch. Just like you see me losing my damn mind on videos and on the Twitch channel. You guys can't turn away, apparently, so it's kind of the same thing. Just put a smile on your face and watch more lighthearted gun content. Maybe not even just us, but lighthearted gun content. I don't know, maybe some Garand Thumb, maybe some Brandon Herrera, and just keep your mind at ease by doing that, because you're going to constantly be punched in the gut. The media is a dangerous tool. Unfortunately, they do not want to play nice with us pretty much ever. And so the only way to counter that is really just to put a smile on your face. So instead of just grinning and bearing it and faking that smile, go watch your favorite gun tuber. Go watch your favorite Twitch streamer. Hell, play a game that has your favorite guns in it. Kind of just do what we're doing now, but understand that it's maybe a little bit more cathartic. Who knows? Hashtag vocab, by the way. All right, this one's an old one. It's coming from our buddy Cypher, back from July of last year. He says, or he wants to know, if you were designing one firearm to specifically confuse and anger the gun community, what would it be? Well, that's a difficult question, because I feel like there's a lot of different ways I could go about doing this. You could think I feel like it's kind of like a Michael Reeves style video in the making. Maybe you should pass this one off to him and see what he has to say. But if you guys don't know who he is, check him out. He's quite funny and terrifying at the same time. The first thing that pops into my head is something like a gun that freaking tasers you as you pull the trigger, or tases you as you pull the trigger, like some kind of like prank gun or something like that. You just don't tell anybody and just, you know, watching and crack up in hilarity every time they pull the trigger. But the other direction you could go is kind of like the melding of guns, like taking one idea of one type of firearm and merging it with another. So for example, you could have, I think the worst combination I could think of is like a high point carbine circuit judge or something like that. Oh my God, I feel disgusting for saying that. Oh, shame. Oh, shame. Oh, shame. But I don't know. What are some other, you guys comment down below what like some other awful like melding combinations of guns would be. What if it was like a, I don't know, like a Sky pistol mixed with like a G3C. I'm just picking like the trash tier guns that I love to make fun of because I didn't proofread these and I was not expecting that question. I really don't know, man. Brian Winters is next on the list and he's got 2 questions. He wants to know what's a good starting handgun that isn't Glock perfection. Well, that's a kind of a tough one for me to answer because I am not you and your needs for a firearm are going to work differently than mine. However, like from a general perspective, I would boil it down to budget. If you've got that kind of Glock budget, maybe a little bit higher, you're looking at 320. 320 is a really solid gun now that they've, at least in my opinion, now that they've fixed a lot of the issues associated with it. But if you're not a SIG fan, the Walther Q5 steel frame, a lot of the CZ guns like the SP01, the P01, CZ, I wouldn't say the 70, well, I mean the 75 would be a great starter gun. But if you want to go polymer, the 07, the 01, the P07, P01, or no, not, excuse me, the P10 and the P07. There's a lot of P's and O's and whatever. I think those would all be really great starter guns. They're all kind of around that budget, but if you didn't have that per se, I hate saying, why did I say that? I hate it when people say per se because they always misuse it. And I just did there. I'm an idiot. I mean, we all knew that, but I'm an idiot. But back to the point, if you have a little bit less than that budget, number one, I'd encourage you to maybe save up an extra paycheck and get something of a greater repute, of greater, reputation, which I think means the exact same thing. But you could step down into like the Canic Elite Combat, Executive Elite Combats. Really, well, technically those are more expensive, but you're getting way more gun for your money. Or the TP9 SF or SFX if you want a longer frame. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones that I would recommend. I don't really go much lower than Canic just because I don't believe that there are a whole lot of, we'll call them good starter guns out there. If we're just looking for a range toy, then yeah, maybe we can go with the Taurus, or maybe we can go with something a little bit more budget oriented. But don't lie to yourself and do the just as good bit, because it's not. There's no evidence suggesting that a Taurus is just as good as a Glock or a Walther or a SIG. There's a lot of evidence suggesting the contrary, definitely. But it's just people's opinions that are perpetuating those myths. So yeah, I would drive you a little bit more to the CZ world. I really like the P01, the SP01 series of guns. And then, like I said, if you're looking for polymer, go with the P10, because there's the P10C, the P10F, the P10. There's a bunch of different models, depending on the size that you want. Same thing with SIG. You can get the 320, the X-Carry. Do they have an X-Carry Legion or something like that? They have a bunch of different tiers. I can't remember them all off the top of my head. But they should all give you solid guns. The one gripe I have with the P320 is I think it does have a bit more mushy of a trigger than a lot of your other striker-fired guns do. But you won't really get that with the CZ side of things. And if you really want to spend some money, you can start getting into things like the Shadows, the Rammies for carry. Although I think they might have discontinued the Rammy. I could be wrong in that. There's a lot of options out there. Just pick a reputable company. Make sure you go and practice with it a little bit. Find a gun range that has an analog to it or the exact same gun, and run there. And if all else fails, just get a Glock because they are perfect. Totally joking. Our last question of the day comes from Southern Fella, and this is a brand new question. He wants to know, do you see red dots on pistols coming with optics cuts being standard in the industry in the next 5 years? No, I do not. Iron sights will never go away, and very few companies, I think, are willing to limit their options in that, because there's still a large majority of the people out there who do not want a red dot anywhere on their gun. They don't want the cut. They don't want anything. And if you limit yourself to just that, you're taking away a little bit of your market share or your ability to reach some of those people. So do I think it'll become standard? Absolutely not. Will it increase in popularity? Will there be more makes and models out there that have, for lack of a better term, an MOS version or an optics ready version? Absolutely. I think that you can expect within the next 5 years to have, well, I'll throw a number out there, 75 to 80% of your standard makes and models that you see today, i.e. your Glocks, your Walthers, your SIGs, yada, 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 moving on down the line, they will have optics ready options. They don't all have them right now, but just with the popularity booming of it, and as we just went through this with my dad, as he's getting older and his eyesight's getting not the greatest, he's wearing trifocals and things like that, he has a very difficult time with iron sights, and he does not feel comfortable carrying a gun that has just iron sights. So as more and more people run into issues like that, it might change their opinion. It might force them into that, or not force them into that, but it might, we'll say, broaden their horizon, open their mind a little bit to some of the other options out there in terms of red dots, and who knows, maybe they will like it. Well, that's about all the time we have for today, folks. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to check out these 2 videos right here if you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to drop a like on the video and join us next week when we still don't know what the f we're doing.